for being with us these next few months. I'm so excited, so honored to have you as such a teacher of ours, and just to be able to lead with you. Just brings such warmth, energy, all the good stuff. Love it. Oh.
I feel very honored.
Yeah, we are psyched. What a great team.
Excited.
Yeah. All right. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehita teif batzitzit. Amen. All right. Let's have a great service, everyone. Okay. Here's your. Here.
Excited.
I'm going to throw mine on.
Hine ma tovu manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tovu manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tovu manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Shevet achim gam yachad. Hinei ma tov u'manayim. Shevet achim gam yachad. Hinei ma tov u'manayim. Shevet achim gam yachad. Shevet achim gam yachad. Hinei ma tov u'manayim. Shevet achim gam yachad.
Shabbat Shalom. Welcome to congregants, friends, guests, to everyone joining us here in the sanctuary and everyone joining us online. It is so wonderful to be together to celebrate Shabbat. And we are thrilled tonight to welcome a couple folks to our Bima for this Shabbat, representing our board of advisors. We have Jackie Wolf, and thank you for being here for your partnership. And tonight, kicking off her 3-month residency, I guess we could call it, something like that, right? Our wonderful guest rabbi for the next 3 months while Rabbi Mater is on sabbatical, Rabbi Sue Levi Elwell. We are so honored to have you, Sue, with us. Rabbi Elwell has been a teacher to so many of us for so many years, and so many of us in this community already have a really wonderful relationship with her, and we're just so honored to have you with us to teach, to lead us in prayer, and to be with us during this time. Thank you. Let's ensure that we are praying together as one community tonight. Please take a moment, find someone new to greet, and wish them a Shabbat Shalom. All right. Go out and press the flash if you want. Say hi to someone. I forgot to get someone for candles and kiddush. We need to have someone lined up ahead of time. I'm going to go find someone really quickly.
She can't even defend herself. I know. Right.
I'll introduce you. I'll give you the cue and then. This was about it's 4 years ago. Shabbat. Oh, I turned myself on and then off. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. All right, lots of greeting, lots of Shabbat Shaloming. It is wonderful, absolutely wonderful. We love having such a relational congregation. We are honored tonight that we have the wonderful Elijah Ehrlichman to lead us in our candlelighting. You know, it's always really special when our young people become such leaders in the Jewish community, and Elijah has really been that, and he's been wonderful here at Rodef Shalom, as well as at JCC Camp Medford, where he's a counselor, and just a wonderful, is becoming a really wonderful young adult leader in our community. So honored to have you, Elijah, lead us in our blessings, beginning with candlelighting on page 2. Okay, you can just...
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
And the Kiddush, the blessing on the wine, can be found on page 5.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam porei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava u'v'ratzon hinchilanu zikaron le'masei v'reishit כי הוא יום תחילה למקראי קודש, זכר לציאת מצרים. כי בנו בחרת ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים, ושבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת לחיים.
We begin a new book of Torah this week, Shemot, book of Exodus, beginning with the story of our prophet Moses. And there's a very famous midrash, kind of rabbinic fan fiction, stories that aren't in the Torah. Thank you for laughing, Matthew. I didn't come up with that. I have to give credit. Rabbi Nikki DeBlasi is the one who used that term, a wonderful colleague and educator. But it's sort of stories, right? Midrash are stories that come from the weekly portion. And the rabbis, very famously, Moses has this stutter, this speech impediment of sorts. And the rabbis seek to understand, where did this come from? And so they tell this story that the baby Moses, growing up in Pharaoh's palace, every time his grandpa, Pharaoh, would come to give him a hug, he would reach immediately for the crown, for Pharaoh's crown. And the Pharaoh's advisors, these sorcerers, said, oh, this is a sign that he is going to try to dethrone you one day. And we know that is what happens, actually. But it's actually in the Midrash, Jethro, who later becomes Moses' father-in-law, a Midianite priest, is in this circle somehow and speaks up and says, no, don't be ridiculous. He's just reaching for it because it's shiny, and babies like shiny things, right? And so he says, why don't we have a little test? And what we'll do is we'll put out a piece of gold and a shiny hot coal and we'll see which one he goes for. And they're there, and actually, in the moment, baby Moses is about to reach for the gold. But the Midrash says that the angel Gabriel steps in and pushes his hand, and instead has him reach for the coal, ultimately saving his life. Because Pharaoh then thought, well, he's not actually going to try to take the throne, and I don't have to kill him. But when he takes that coal, he puts it in his mouth, burns his tongue, and, right, babies put everything in their mouths, and thus this is where his speech becomes slowed, is the term in Torah. Rabbi Jill Hammer, in her beautiful Book of Days, talks about the idea that Moses is destined to be the Redeemer, but Gabriel, the angel Gabriel, knows in that moment he's not ready to fight Pharaoh. Gabriel saves Moses so that he can grow up and fulfill his destiny later. And so too we learn that there are tasks for which we might not yet be prepared. Just as there are seeds that are not yet ready to sow. The winter months, which we are in now in the Hebrew calendar, Tevet, and actually next week we're going to begin our new month of Shvat, they remind us that this is a time to wait, to learn, and because sometimes our goals take time. The same is true of Shabbat. This is a time out of time that reminds us to slow down, that reminds us of that long journey to some of our goals ahead. And so we take a deep breath and release, turning from that hectic, busy work week to the slowness of Shabbat. We join together in our Kabbalat Shabbat songs, beginning on page 22 with Psalm 92, Mizmor Shir.
מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. להגיד בבוקר חסדך, ואמונתך בלילות, עלי אסון ועלי נבל, עלי היגיון בחינוך. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. כי שימחתני אדוני בפועלך, במעשה דרנן, מה גדלו מעשיך אדוני, מאוד עמקו מחשבותיך. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני ולזמר לשמך עליון ולזמר לשמך עליון ולזמר לשמך עליון ולזמר לשמך עליון.
Page 16, Zamru Ladonai, sing praises to God.
Zameru Ladonai bechinor bechinor v'kol zimra. 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 Zameru Ladonai bechinor bechinor v'kol zimra.
With the joy of a wedding, we continue with Lechado D, pages 20 and 21, verses 1, 2, 5, and 9.
לך דודי נקרא כלה בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי נקרא כלה בני שבת נקבלה. שמור וזכור בדיבור אחד ישמיענו אל המיוחד. אדוני אחד ושמו אחד ושמו תפארת ולתחילה. לך דודי נקרא כלה בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי נקרא כלה בני שבת נקבלה. לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה כי מקור הברכה מראש מקדם נשוכה. סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה. לך דודי לקראת כלה בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה בני שבת נקבלה. התעוררי התעוררי כי באורך קומי אורי. אורי אורי שיר דברי כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה בני שבת נקבלה. לקבלה.
Please rise as we symbolically welcome the Sabbath bride.
בואי ושלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי חלה, בואי חלה, לך דודי נגלה קלה, בני שבת קבלה. לך דודי נגלה קלה, בני שבת קבלה. לך דודי נקרא קלה, בני שבת קבלה. לך דודי נקרא קלה, בני שבת קבלה.
Continue on page 28 with our call to worship, Baruch Hu.
Lai 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 la lai lai la lai 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 la lai lai la lai 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 lai. Barechu et Adonai hamevorach. Baruch Adonai hamevorach le'olam va'ed.
On the top of page 31, we read together, Praise to you, Adonai our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars. Creator of the tide of time and light, you guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai our God, from whom the evening flows.
Baruch atah Adonai Hama'ariv Aravim.
And on the middle of page 32, together, everlasting love you offered your people Israel by teaching us Torah and mitzvot, laws and precepts. Therefore, Adonai our God, when we lie down and when we rise up, we will meditate on your laws and your commandments. We will rejoice in your Torah forever. Day and night we will reflect on them, for they are our life, and doing them lengthens our days. Never remove your love for us. Praise to you, Adonai, who loves your people Israel.
Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed.
Please be seated, page 36.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך. וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך. וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אמת.
I realized as I was reading these words of the Ahaftan, thinking about loving God and teaching our children, that I forgot to welcome our Rabbi Emeritus, Rabbi Kuhn and Emily, and always wonderful to have you here, and someone who has also been such a teacher to our whole congregation and is always impressing these important words on the next generation. So always good to see you both. We continue as we read together on page 39. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together. Page 40.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, נורא תהילות אוסף אלה, נורא תהילות אוסף מלכותך ראו בניך, בוקע ים לפני משה ומרים, זה אלי ענו ואמרו, זה אלי ענו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם. אדוני את יעקב, וגלו מיד חזק, חזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל, מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך באלים אדוני.
Pray as if everything depended on God. Act as if everything depended on you. We continue with the tefillah on pages 46 and following. Please rise.
אדוני שפתי תפתח ופי יגיד תהילתך. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah, האל הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון, גומל חסדים טובים וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע. משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים. סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומידו מלך, מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה. ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל, ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
Please be seated. We turn to the middle of page 56 in our prayer books, as we are ending this week the month of Tevet of the Hebrew calendar, and we are beginning our next winter month, the month of Shvat, which you may know famously from the holiday of Tu B'Shvat, the 15th of Shvat, which will be in just a few weeks. And we join together in this blessing to celebrate this new month in the middle of the page. Our God and God of our fathers and mothers, on this first day of the new month, be mindful of us and all your people Israel, for good, for love, for compassion, life and peace. Remember us for well-being. Amen. Visit us with blessing. Amen. Help us to a fuller life. Amen. And we turn now in our prayer books to page 259 as we join together for a prayer for the state of Israel. On the bottom of the page together. O Heavenly One, Protector and Redeemer of Israel, bless the state of Israel, which marks the dawning of hope for all who seek peace. Shield it beneath the wings of your love. Spread over it the canopy of your peace. Send your light and truth to all who lead and advise, guiding them with your good counsel. Establish peace in the land and fullness of joy for all who dwell there. Amen. We take moments now for silent prayer.
עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל, ואמרו עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו Shalom bimromav, Ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel ve'imu. Amen.
Yeah, you know what's up, Noah. In a moment, we'll be on page 253 for the Misha Beirach, our prayer for healing. The scholar Steven Pinker, some of you might have seen his book from a few years back, quoting the famous line from Lincoln, The Better Angel of Our Nature, where he talks about how, despite what it may feel like sometimes, violence in our world has actually been steadily decreasing. And although it's hard to see that, the world is becoming a more peaceful place. But it's often very hard to feel that. And I was touched that one of my interfaith colleagues, Reverend Jay Broadnax, who actually, we grew up in the same town, he's a pastor at Mount Pisgah AME. Right now, actually 6:30, he is gathering with Christian pastors across the region for a vigil to offer prayers to combat violence in our city and across the world. And I mentioned to him that I could not be there as I was going to be worshiping, but said that we would also be praying to end violence in this world and to know that our prayers along with theirs are being lifted up together tonight. We think especially of our own Philadelphia community. We think of those in Iowa, in Perry, with the recent school shooting, and pray for their safety and pray for their return to wholeness. And we think of all of those in Israel and in the Palestinian territories who face violence, those innocent Palestinians in Gaza, as well as especially those hostages which have still not been returned. And we know the violence that they have faced and continue to face. I offer this prayer for the welfare and return for Israel's captured. May the one who blessed our ancestors, Abraham and Sarah, Isaac and Rebekah, Jacob, Leah and Rachel, may the source of all hope bless the captured and the many kidnapped citizens, young and old, held in captivity in Gaza, along with all of those who are in captivity and distress. May it be your will, Adonai Tzivaot, God of hosts, to rescue and redeem these souls and return them swiftly to their families on the land of Yisrael. We add to those prayers those of our own loved ones who are in need of healing, mind, body, or spirit. If you are holding someone in your heart tonight in need of healing, I invite you to write their names in the chat or to speak their names aloud at this time.
Mi shebeirach avoteinu mikor habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength who blessed the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mi shebeirach imotenu mikor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirits, and let us say, Amen.
Yeah, that's what you're going to do. Do you want me to help lead it? Yes. Perfect. Beautiful. All right. We now turn from thoughts of healing to thoughts of joy and celebration as we prepare to sing our blessing of gratitude, Shehechianu. The words are on page 344 if you need them, but I think most of you know this one. But first, we want to take a moment to recognize all that we are grateful for. And I am grateful, I'll say, for Rabbi Elwell, who is here with me, so I don't have to be the only rabbi for the next 3 months. I mean, I always have Cantor Hyman, so I'm not worried. But I'm grateful for this wonderful clergy team. And I'll say on behalf of Rabbi Mater, I'm grateful to this whole congregation for allowing her to have that much needed rest and reflection time. But what else? What else are we grateful for this Shabbat? Hopefully you all have at least one good thing you can think of from this past week or maybe coming up in the next week. Yeah.
Please.
Fred, go
No.
for it.
Yes.
Did you catch that?
Your daughter is here from Italy,
Yeah.
and your grandson is here as well. Ah,
Not
They
here
came
tonight.
last time in the
Well,
last
we are
trip, I
so
think, right?
In the
glad
country. Been
to
there.
welcome you and to celebrate with you. Others who have something beautiful to share. In a loud voice, please. Mazal tov. So, a groom-to-be. 2 weeks ago, we have the wonderful news of your becoming engaged and making a lifelong commitment to your beloved. Wow. So, we are here as a community to help you as you make this beautiful change in your life and to celebrate with you. Others, I know some great things happened this week that we would love to hear about. Yes, please.
I just kicked off a new venture, and I just finished the website for it, which I created myself, so
Mazal tov. She's just begun a new venture, and she finished the website. So you'll have to share with us what that is so that we can go on. What is it?
it's called BB Babes, the letter B, Babes, and it's baby boomer women, and it's fashion, fitness, and health for baby boomer women.
Fitness and health for baby boomer women. I think there are a couple sitting here today. So here some of your audience is already ready to log on. Thank you. A birthday? Ah, it's Jackie's birthday, but she doesn't want to say it.
I turned 76 on Sunday.
Mazal tov. So, Jackie was born in a very important year, 1948.
47.
Oh, 47, because the birthday was before.
right before, yeah,
So, 1947 was the year before 1948, and not only was the state of,
You're a little bit older than this, right? You gotta
yeah,
But both of my parents are from 48, so I always feel akin to that
Okay.
year. I got you.
So I learned in school when I was in about 5th or 6th grade that India was founded in 1948. But of course, for us, it's Israel. So, Mazal Tov, happy birthday to Jackie. Are we ready to sing? Ah, yes. Mazal Tov.
all right.
So
It's a
Ned
it's a good
celebrating
start.
a milestone birthday as well. Any other birthdays, engagements, celebrations, please. Welcome home to your son after being abroad. How wonderful. So, yes, one more. Ah,
Hey.
another birthday. Happy 50th birthday to your beloved. So, I think we're ready to sing a Shehechianu.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה.
Thank you.
Have fun.
Thank you. Shabbat Shalom. I am delighted to be with you once again. Thank you all for welcoming me home. As some of you know, my connection with this congregation is deep. In 1880, my great-grandparents, Jacob Krieger and Ella Lehman, were married here, not in this sanctuary, but at Rodef Shalom. Jacob was a member of the choir and was gifted with a pair of silver Kiddush cups inscribed with the date of their wedding. When my parents, Charles and Claire Levi, moved to Philadelphia in 1995, they became members here. For the rest of their lives, they were nurtured and supported by the music, the Torah study, worship, and friendship that bring so many of you to this building week after week, year after year. As a longtime member of RS myself, I am honored to be here to support Rabbi Maderer's well-earned sabbatical. I'm delighted to have the opportunity to serve with my colleagues, Rabbi Friedman and Cantor Hyman, and to be with my beloved friend, your Rabbi Emeritus, Rabbi Kuhn. I'm happy to be here to renew and initiate connections with many of you. RS has grown and changed since I first joined 30 years ago, and I am delighted to learn from and contribute to the ongoing project of creating and sustaining profound connections to one another and to our precious Jewish legacies. As Rabbi Friedman mentioned, we have arrived at Shabbat Shemot, along with over 15 million others who identify as Jews and with those who accompany us. Together, we are continuing our journey through our sacred text, making our way from the powerful family sagas of Genesis to a new book, Shemot, Exodus. We read this story every year as we make our way through the Torah, and again as we gather around our Passover tables. Yet, we are always entering the doors of our text anew. The text may not change, but we change. And so we see and feel and hear the power of the ancient words with altered perception, with ears differently attuned, with hearts bruised or open in different ways. This year, we began the book of Bereshit, Genesis, on October 7th, Simchat Torah, On October 7th, 2023, we in America gathered in tears and horror, for we had just learned of the murderous pogroms and abduction of hundreds of Israelis and others along the Gazan border. We Jews have stumbled through our lives for the last 91 days, turning to our texts and our teachers for guidance. And across the world, Jews are facing discrimination, fear, and hate, many of us for the first time in our lives. By the time we arrived at the final portions about Joseph and his brothers, we struggled to find the light in the darkness of these days. Joseph in the pit mirrored the despair of the many hostages still in captivity. The famine in Canaan mirrored the famine in Gaza. Hanukkah was a welcome blessing as we increased light night after night, and we turned back to our text for additional illumination. By the conclusion of Genesis, Joseph and his brothers have been reunited. Joseph's tears and his ability to forgive are powerful gifts that often come on or just after the last days of Hanukkah. We have gathered here once more, beginning a new book of the Torah on this first Shabbat of the new secular year. What comfort, what wisdom can we glean from these words? Ele Shemot. Exodus begins with establishing a clear connection between our founding stories and the continuing history of our people. Ele Shemot B'nai Yisrael. The portion begins with listing the names of Jacob's sons who came to Egypt, the 11 brothers who journeyed from Canaan to join Joseph, now the viceroy of Egypt. Each of us, like this book of Exodus, begins our lives with a name, a backstory. This parsha challenges us to think about our names anew. What is our genealogy? What are the names of those who preceded us? What does my name mean? Am I named for someone who came before me? What does it mean when I choose a new name? How does my name, either given or chosen, connect me to others? How does my name distance me from others? How has my name opened doors? How has my name been a barrier or a stumbling block? Do I have any responsibility to those who came before me? What do I want my own legacy to be? Throughout our lives, we decide again and again whether and how we will explore the maps of our beginnings, how we will excavate and sift through and evaluate the stories, the physical remnants, the complex and often contradictory legacies that are our Yerusha, our inheritance. And so I ask, in these days, what does it mean to publicly identify as a Jew? What does it mean to be an ally? Do I want to speak out as a Jew or as an ally? Does it feel safe to identify myself as a Jew? What is my relationship with and connection to Israel? Does it matter whether or not I have family there? Whether I have visited or studied or lived in the state of Israel? How does the Torah help us answer these questions? This portion provides a rich study of names, who is named and who is not. The first people who are named in this portion are Shifra and Puah, the courageous midwives. Join me tomorrow morning and we'll talk more about this in Torah study. Moses is only named when Pharaoh's unnamed daughter pulls him out of the Nile, rescuing him from the watery death decreed by her father. The central naming in Parashat Shemot is not of any of the human characters, but the name of God. Our portion continues. A long time after that, the king of Egypt died. The Israelites were groaning under the bondage and cried. Their shriek for help from the bondage rose up to God. God heard their moaning, and God remembered God's covenant with Abraham and Isaac and Jacob. God looked upon the Israelites, and God knew. This is God's first appearance in this portion and in this book. The intensity of the Israelites' cries of pain pierces whatever has kept the Holy One from responding to the people's desperation. Our sage Rambam writes, God no longer hid God's face from them. And then God enlists Moses, now an adult and working as a shepherd. God woos Moses despite Moses' reluctance to serve as God's emissary. God speaks to Moses from a burning bush, and Moses asks, when I come to the Israelites and say to them, the God of your ancestors has sent me to you, and they ask me, what is God's name? What shall I say to them? Says Moses. God responds with a singular, confounding, enigmatic name. Ehyeh Asher Ehyeh. My teacher, Aviva Zornberg, writes, how many pens? Oh, sweetie. Aviva Zornberg writes, how many pens have been broken? How much ink has been spilt to explain this name? She then continues to offer Rashi's explication. I shall be with them in this anguish, as I shall be with them in future crises of slavery. God defines God's self as the God of continual redemption. There will be other slaveries, other redemptions. God promises presence. I am that who I am. I will be what I will be. God promises presence to the broken, to the enslaved, to those who feel abandoned, forgotten. I will be with you. I will be with you. This promise, I think, is not singular to our Torah. This is the promise of many religious and spiritual traditions. This is the promise many of us make to one another in friendship, in love, in families, in communities. but we are only human. Few of us are able to sustain such a promise for months, years, a lifetime. But perhaps that is why we turn to the idea of a presence that is beyond human understanding, beyond human will. Perhaps that is exactly why we continue to read this text. This is our precious legacy, a God with an inscrutable name, yet a promise of presence. I will be with you, even though times will be as impossible to bear as Egyptian slavery. I will be with you. I will be with you. God is presence. If we can hold on to that hope, that idea, perhaps we can survive these dark, frightening times. This is the promise of Shemot. This name of presence, this name of promise, this name of an eternal connection. We are in a time of great darkness, yet we know that every night comes to an end, and every week ends with Shabbat. Can we draw strength from our presence here tonight? We have come from our safe homes to be together. We have come together in spite of our fears, our frailties, in spite of the aches and pains and excuses that would keep us away. We have come together in spite of our cynicism and our ambivalence and our confusion. We have come here, and perhaps for just an hour, we have felt seen, cherished, nourished. We have come here to be reminded of the healing power of a text that our people has carried across boundaries of time and space, a text that promises presence. Ele Shemot, these are the names, our precious legacy of Torah, a God who promises presence. Shabbat Shalom. Thank you. Thank you. We continue with Elena on page 282, and then we move to 287. We rise together.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד ארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינת עוזו בגובהי מרומים, הוא אלוהינו אין עוד. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
Let us be seated. On page 291, There are stars up above, so far away we only see their light long, long after the star itself is gone. And so it is with people that we loved. Their memories keep shining ever brightly, though their time with us is done. But the stars that light up the darkest night, these are the lights that guide us. As we live our days, these are the ways we remember. And so tonight, we remember beloveds who have illuminated our lives with their light. And in our community, we particularly remember Bertha Anathan, Rebecca Ehrenheimer Bacharach, Laura Barsch, Harry Batt, Herman Bierman, Adolf Berg, Ethel Bernstein, Annette Wallowitz Black, Philip Blank, Louis M. Blesnak, Nancy Blesnak, Meyer Block, Fanny Bloom, Jerry Brosco, Lillian Budin, Estelle Bayakovsky, Lavita H. Coleman, John C. Danaher, Muriel Datner, Jack Dunnis, Beatrice Vogel Eggendorf, Harry Eisenberg, Sidney Allmeyer Farbish, Abraham Fellheimer, Mort Fish, Benedict Freud, Esther Friedenberg, Emil J. Fried, Sarah R. Furman, Shirley K. Garfinkel, Frank H. Gelman, Robert Gerber, Jean Refferwitz Gerstley, Hyman Max Ginsberg, Julius Milton Gold, Ruth Grunenberg Goldenberg, Elizabeth F. Goldsmith, Carol Goldstein, David Grupp, Gilbert Hanover, Carrie R. Hoffman, Dina Israel, Judith Kirschbaum Jacobs, Frida Jonas, Ignat Jonas, Louis Kahn, William L. Kahn, Esther Stein Kemper, Evelyn Korn, Solomon Langstatler, Louisa Goodman Lazarus, Morris Lempert, Sidney A. Leventon, Marvin Levin, Donald K. Lieberman, Leo Loeb, Sally Levi Mandel, Eleanor Hirsch Mann, Geraldine Markovitz, Robert Marlowe, Sig C. Mayer, Abraham Meltz, Martin Miller, Sally Roth Meerman, Rebecca Nemiroff, Moishe Nemirovsky, William P. Noah Jr., Rachel Nussbaum, Evan Ponce, Max H. Rabb, Sylvia Schachtel Refrowitz, Rosalind Richer, David Rickey, Max Raub, Joel Rosenberg, A. Leon Rosenblatt, Lynette Rosenblum, Joan A. Rosenblum, J. B. Rosenheim, Edgar Rosenthal, Rose N. Rosenthal, Edward Rosewater, Bessie A. Rubin, Leonard Rubin, Maurice G. Sanders, Joseph Sattler, Margaret Sauer, Max Shader, Cecilia Schwartz, Charlotte Glass Schweg, Samuel Cernoff, Mary Simpson, Edith Freitas Singer, Adele N. Sensheimer, Rhoda Spells, Wolf Stephecker, Richard Stover, Joyce Herzog Strauss, Israel Swit, Lina Kaufman Thalheimer, Edith S. Todd, Henrietta Troutman, Sarah M. Vogelson, Theodore Weil, Louis Weissman, Sophie Sulzer Weiss, Abraham S. Wilson, Teresa Wise, Caroline Wolf, Walter L. Wolf. We take the names of those who have been taken from our midst, but not from our hearts, in these most recent days. Janet Benish, Mary Jane Eisenberg, Bradley Charles Havs, Merton Hedson, David C. Ruberg, Marion Wolgan. If you are observing a yahrzeit or shloshim for a loved one whose name I did not call, please rise and share that name with the community. And if you're on Zoom, please type out their names in the chat. So we rise as a community together, if it is your custom, and repeat the Kaddish prayer on page 294. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shmei Rabba, v'almad yivrach v'yitev yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon v'yamechon v'chayedechal Beit Yisrael, v'agala v'yizman kariv yimru amen. Yehi shmei Rabba mevorach le'olam omei amaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei d'kudusha b'rechu, le'ela mimkol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damiran b'yalma b'yimru amen. Yehi shlama Rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael, Yimru amen. Oseh shalom b'mrumav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'al kol Yisrael, Yimru amen. Let us be seated.
Oseh shalom b'mrumav, hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru amen.
We now invite Jackie to come and give us the announcements for this holy community.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbos.
On Sunday, January the 21st, you're invited to join us for brunch and conversation with Sigal Kanatopsky, Northeast Regional Director of the Jewish Agency of Israel. Kanatopsky, the first Ethiopian Jew to serve in this capacity, will share her compelling story and speak about Israel's Ethiopian Jewish community. This event is part of the Israel Connect RS speaker series, and you can see more of that on page 7 of your program. On Wednesday, January the 24th, Congressman Jamie Raskin, a Democrat of Maryland, a constitutional scholar, will share his perspective on the role of our Constitution in response to the defining issues of the day. I would urge all of those who believe in democracy to bring friends. You'll see that information on page 7. If you are new to Rhoda Shalom, a special welcome to you. Please meet our congregant, Jordan Marks, who is standing in the aisle waving, and learn more following our service about our congregation. And again, welcome.
Okay. Thank you, Jackie. There's always a conversation whether this, indeed, what Jackie just shared with us is the most holy part of our entire service, because it's about continuing to build and strengthen this holy community. So thank you for listening to her, and we look forward to seeing you at some of the events that she shared, and this is also why you have this wonderful booklet, so that you can take it home and remember, and we can be together to continue to fight for justice in our beloved country. So we will conclude with a benediction. in words and music, and I invite you all to rise.
Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha.
May God bless us and keep us.
Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka.
May God's light be visible in all of our faces, especially when we look into each other's eyes.
Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom.
May we go forth into this Shabbat with a greater sense of the power of presence, the power of human presence to light our paths through the darkness, the power of God's presence to carry us through our days. Amen.
Amen. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. Jackie, great to be with you. Announcements. Oh, Yasha Koach. Sue, that was awesome.
Oh, thank you.
Beautiful words.
Oh, thank you.
Words. Oh, such a joy to be with you.
Wonderful.
Oh, Brad, beautiful as always. Oh,
Loved your parents.
right, it was a long one this week.
AJ, give me some detailed plans of your weekend. What's going on?
So good to see you. Thank you.
I'm good. Feel better.
Wise words.